welcome to One on One, brought to you by Nebraska Equipment in Seward. Eric Johnson with you, and time now to talk about the state of friend. And joining me, haven't seen him in a while, it's Mr. Derek Anderson. Hello, sir. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Long time no here. You've been busy, to say the least.
Yeah, so have you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I figured our paths would cross here soon, and what better way to do it? I guess with Mother Nature being as finicky as she is, we're able to get ourselves in time to talk. I mean, lots to talk about here since wintertime. Now going full head of steam into spring. I guess. First off, you doing well? Everything going good over there in Friend?
Yeah. Smooth sailing so far.
Good. What's been the latest going on there at school?
Oh, just a lot of the kicking off of spring sports, golf, track, quiz bowl, still kind of going on. So we're chasing kids everywhere doing that, and just kind of getting ready for the April vote. So
well, lots to talk about. I'm glad you teased the opportunity here. Let's get started. Well, quick highlights since we didn't get a chance to talk during wintertime, coincidentally enough, because of Mother Nature. Final thoughts on the basketball season there for Coach Pella and Coach Arp.
Well, I thought it was a good inaugural season for bringing the kids together. It's a little bit of a different animal with basketball. This was the very first year. It's not, it's very different. I think some people were kind of had expectations it would be like football. Well, football, they've had a youth program. Those boys have been playing together since, they were knee high. And this was two different programs who never really played together coming together at this point for basketball. And so there were some growing pains. There were some differences in terminology the kids had to understand. And kudos to the coaches. They both knew that this wasn't going to be necessarily a sunshine and rainbows. There was going to be a lot of hard work and patience and kind of waiting to see the results. And I think in different ways both programs had some success, especially late in the year. Our girls played very tough down the stretch. And our boys, made a good push there, and I thought really improved from top to bottom, from seniors to all the way down to freshmen. And the boys, there's a pretty good freshman class for EMF when we look at girls and boys. So I'm excited about the future for both girls and boys basketball.
And it was quite refreshing and a different change of pace. We're going out to Sandy Creek and cheering the boys on, and they were holding their ground. I mean, they threw everything in the kitchen sink. It was just not their year, I guess. Not the game. So
and you put in the 131, you put a 6'9" kid on top of the 131 with his wingspan. He's just going to disrupt things. Yeah, and I don't care who you are. That's tough to go against. And I'm a big fan of the 131, but you want a lanky kid up top, and that's a tough thing to combat. When the kid's 6'9". So,
amen. It was I lost my voice after that season, both seasons. So I feel you there completely. But so we transition. Credit the wrestling. We had one going to state. We had speech. We had Troy going to state there as well. Thoughts on that? I mean, awesome display. Didn't quite what we wanted, but awesome display nevertheless.
And once again, just we, for EMF wrestling, EM's never had wrestling, so we had one wrestler from EM come out, and that was great. I know my coach, Coach Baber, was fired up about that. He's trying to build a program. And girls wrestling, Kyler came on strong, did some good things, had one qualify, so kudos to Dalton for that. So then we had speech. And Troy did really well. I thought we saw some good things from a lot of different kids. Troy makes it to state, which is good. We bumped up a class. Both of us were used to competing in Class D speech, and now we're competing in Class C. And there's some powerhouses in C when it comes to speech. And we were not in an easy district by any means, too. So, in another district, maybe we could qualify one or two more, but, that's just kind of how the NSAA is, and when you look at the area, there's a good chance we'll see some of those same powerhouse teams year after year in speech. That's just how it goes. So, but kudos to Troy, great for him as a senior to go to speech in Class C, which, like I said, was, that's a tough animal, honestly. And then, even, for our once again, I think Coach Murphy's working on building a program with the two schools combined. I think there's some really positive things are going to happen with speech.
Yeah, and man, you get from one activity to another, and I know your head's probably spinning, but boys golf,
Yeah.
dramatic turnaround of competition there, just
Yeah.
within themselves. Big turnout there for that,
Yeah.
and track. Talk to us about that.
Well, golf, I mean, you're talking about, and we're down, we're losing, we lost Clues to surgery and everything, and that was one of our top golfers. But you've got Carter there, who's going to kind of lead the charge. But we had two pretty decent golf teams last year apart, and now we're cramming them together. So you want to talk about, one of the things that I've talked about and Paul's talked about even during all these meetings is just the competition within. And when you look at golf, that's definitely the case. I mean, there's your your 3, 4, 5 guys on the team are right there neck and neck with each other. And then the kids that are still trying to get a varsity spot that maybe don't make the cut right away. I could see some things shaking up down the road during the season where, you know, honestly, Coach Nicholas might play a little bit with who the varsity 5 are. I don't know. So it's great to see that level of competition, and that you see that also in track. Like uh, I always thought last year, EM had a really good track presence. Maybe just missing a few puzzle pieces here and there. I feel like Friend maybe has some of those pieces, especially girls track. That was something we at Friend were a little bit maybe struggling with a little bit more, and it feels like things are starting to gel there. Our girls are putting together a good showing, and our boys are strong. We've got plenty of athletes in the stable, and I think it just creates this atmosphere. I know Coach Murphy there, he's trying to put kids in the right spots to go win meets, rather than just celebrating individual athletes. He's trying to position them to just go out and try and win a meet, which, apart, I'm not sure we were really doing that. Maybe EM a little bit more than Friend, but it's really exciting to see just the level of competition in the spring with all these kids. It's been great.
And so, you've probably seen this day in and day out there in school. Have you noticed like a different demeanor in with the student athletes than in years past? I mean, can you kind of see the everything kind of fitting into place here
Yeah,
overall?
I would say, especially in the spring, I just feel like there's a sense of confidence, maybe
Mhm.
just in terms of the entire team. I think there's a level of confidence there, track and golf. Because we were both apart. We were both missing some pieces as a team. We had individuals doing well, but I just think the entire confidence of the teams for track and golf. It's yeah, you can feel it. The kids expect to do well, and I think that's what this has all been all about, is putting our kids in a good spot to compete and just grow in confidence, and build programs. So
Yeah, of course, lots of new things that, just, with everything combining this year, esports is another thing too, that uncharted waters. I know, talk to Paul about this too. And there's some growing pains with it too. Sometimes technology is always a finicky creature to say the least, but overall, a brand new non-existent has now developed. And, the already had one trip to state,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
mean, it's good presence, right?
Absolutely. I didn't, I'm not as familiar with esports, and so I didn't know really what to expect. But to get a state presence in the winter there to be duking it out with some of these teams that have had esports for years. That was pretty exciting. I think the kids have really put in the time, the effort, and there's definitely a passion there that I think we can rely upon for the future. And I think the kids have done well in year one. I really do expect to as esports grows and expands, I really expect us to continue to be up there, and maybe not just in the winter, but maybe every season we are, at least in the top 8, duking it out for state. That would be great.
Well, and that's just for me personally. I was testing the waters out for the network, a video
Yeah,
aspect, and we were streaming, the games against Centennial and Syracuse and all that. 200 some odd views here and there, and,
yeah, yeah.
and half of them were like, "We don't know we were watching. We were just watching." It's just like, okay, so that just shows you right now, the elevation of, from the old, I'd say the old regime to the new regime, but the graduation to the future here is
Yeah.
it's getting to be there, and that's the biggest thing.
Yeah,
So
it's pretty exciting.
I don't know. I still say if we have Mario and the old school, the OG days, but that's another story, another time.
I
But
I'd be there with you, but yeah, I yeah,
crack
I'll
open some duck hunt, we'll be good. That's
there you
right.
go.
Talking here with Mr. Anderson one-on-one, and having that competition. Of course, we transitioned. You've been on the road, campaign trail, nevertheless, for the big consolidation talk. And uh, lots of uncertainty still. There's, let's say, a very passionate fan base. You have gone through at the time of the recording, done the town hall sessions,
Mhm.
talked about it. Tell us a little bit. I guess first off, tell us a little bit about what's currently going on and what people to expect. And my second question is, what's been the common question that has come up in these town hall sessions?
Yeah. So we've gotten through. We had 2 information meetings, and then we had one in Milligan and then one in Friend, and then we had the chance for public comment. We did the information again in Friend and then in Exeter, and then they allowed for public comment. Um, it's each setting and each group brought certain questions and concerns, and honestly, none of them were of a level where we didn't feel comfortable, explaining, talking about what we envision, uh, a combined school district EMF together. Probably the biggest strands have been, looking at the, I think with any time there's change, you're putting all your elementary in one location, you're putting your 6 through 12 in another location. I think some parents, that change can be, a little scary. Transportation, although the Barties do a great job, and I
Yep,
know
hands down.
that
Yeah.
I would say for them, I know this is something they're put their heart and soul into as we move forward with transportation as one district. And then the other thing was safety and security. Friend, has we have a police presence with an actual police department here in Friend, whereas in Exeter doesn't have a police department. Working out some of those details, maybe in terms of getting a police presence, is just, and honestly, I'm just going to tell you, we've been spoiled. A police chief rolls up here for lunch, says hi to the kids. There's a police presence. We would like to do something like that at the elementary school in Exeter too, just to build those relationships and maybe even just a sense of security. I think Exeter, the site itself, is set up well in terms of security and everything else, but maybe just that police presence would be great down the road. But those have been some of the more major concerns. There's loose ends to tie up, in terms of the Milligan site, in terms of what that's going to look like, the the construction that's going to take place in Exeter for making sure we can fit all the kids into Exeter, those types of things. So some loose ends here or there, but hey, that's why we continue to meet. Board members, we have a committee. Exeter Milligan has a committee. We're going to meet again here this week and try and kind of get an idea of what that's going to look like coming down to that April 8th, board meeting and vote. And then it just continues. Honestly, just because the vote happens doesn't mean it's done. It's the work just really starts to ramp up at that point. So
And I, me personally, I've always appreciated, our just a great relationship you and I have. I come up with a random question. I think it was something about football in Milligan or something like that. And you were upfront and honest. I mean, just like that. It's real easy if questions or concerns, you're always willing to talk to the constituents and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, and I have an open door policy. I know Paul works the same way. Just come on in and talk, or give me a phone call and we'll talk. And it doesn't do any good to it doesn't do any good to stay in your office and not interact and be willing to answer questions. It's one thing I feel like this time around, because we kind of did this dance a while back, but this time around I feel like the board, the administration, we've really just tried to be upfront, honest, but also like accessible. We want to make sure everyone feels like they can come talk to somebody, and if they don't want to talk to me, that's fine. Maybe they can go talk to a board member, and that's fine too. So, but it's been accessibility and openness has been kind of the name of the game.
Yeah, and I appreciate that greatly. And I know for at the time of this recording, the big date to keep in mind for the meetings. What do we have for upcoming dates here for the voting?
Yeah, so April 8th is the D-Day for both districts. So our meeting is at 7:30 here in Friend, and then I believe the Exeter Milligans is in Milligan at 8. And then the reason for the difference is we're trying to time up. My board meeting tends to take a little longer than Sheffield's, so we're trying to time up when the vote is, so there's not a huge difference in like, well, Friend already voted and everyone's texting like crazy, or Exeter already voted and everyone's texting like crazy. We're trying to do it about the same time. So
yeah, Facebook and Twitter. Oh my, here we go.
Here we go. Yeah, it won't take long once it happens. So I know. I have this funny feeling there'll be plenty of citizen presence for the vote on both sides. So,
well, like I said, passionate fan base to say the least, and it just, if they come out, obviously ask questions. Comment time is going to be there, and it's just regardless if you come to Friend or Milligan, make sure April 8th, mark at your calendars right now and take part in that, whatever way, shape, or form possible. But besides consolidation talk, you got a lot of other dates coming up here that we got the seniors looking at the downhill slide, the schools looking to finish out strong. You guys had prom, heard great things about it. Lots of activities coming up here in April.
Yeah, so we already had our prom in the freezing cold, so but that was good. Kids had a great time. One thing I've heard nothing about. I haven't experienced Exeter Milligan's prom yet, but when I look at the kiddos that intermingle and everything else, we got great kids, and so like there's never concerns when it comes to prom. Some of the shenanigans you hear about in other districts, so pretty proud of how our kids act in general. So. But yeah, we got ACT coming up for the juniors. They're getting ready to take the ACT. I'm trying to just think of some other things. A lot of kids gone for. We got state FFA coming up. Of course, golf, track. It's just a sprint to the finish line. I'm clicking through my calendar here, just kind of looking at all the track dates and the golf dates, and it's going to be crazy. And then all of a sudden the seniors are out, and we'll be having graduations, both sites at the same day. So, it's just crazy. It just feels like it should be like November or something. And it's almost
as
April.
much running as both you and I have been doing. Yeah, I totally understand there completely. But you talk about the seniors, great group of kids.
Yeah.
One of the last hoorah for the Bulldogs. Tell us about the senior class.
Seniors, we got a good group of kiddos that they've worked hard, and it's a small but mighty group, I kind of like to say. And they've left their mark, whether it's been academics, athletics, fine arts. We've got a little bit of everything in that senior class, and a well-rounded group. We got another well-rounded group of juniors coming up too. So, but the senior class, there's something about seniors. You as someone who used to teach secondary, you're like, knuckleheads, and then all of a sudden, about second semester of their senior year, like, oh, you can be human. And that's where I'm at right now with these seniors. Like the amount of growth I've seen has been great. It's going to be sad to, right about this time is when I go, man, I could have them another year, and but they don't want anything about. They don't want to stay put. I don't blame them. So, but the amount of growth has been fun to watch. And this senior class is every senior class is a little different. This one has definitely left its mark. So,
well, it's your extended kids,
yep.
all in one way, shape, or form. So great group of kids, great group of student athletes. Couldn't ask for anything better. So.
Yeah. So.
Well, my friend, I know your time is precious. One last question. What would you like to tell the listening audience here before we head off?
I would just say stay tuned. I think there's a lot of great things coming with the consolidation vote, and my hope is that after the vote we just start kicking butt and taking names, getting things figured out, and doing what's best for kids. Because when whether you talk to me or you talk to Paul Sheffield, that's what this is about: is doing what's best for kids and giving them more opportunities and more chances to succeed in different areas. And I would just say stay tuned and enjoy the ride. And I'm sure there's going to be bumps, but in the end, I'm excited for what we can offer kids on the court, on the field, in the classroom. I'm looking forward to it. So.
Well, I appreciate it as always, my friend. Thank you for the times you've given me to talk, and I'm glad to hopefully we can get the word out this way too. So
yeah,
thank you again. So
yeah, thank you.
Mr. Derek Anderson, Friend Public School, appreciate the time, and well, hopefully we can get an exclusive here after April 8th. Who knows?
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks, bud.